Wednesday live angel messages. I'm Rachel Scoltock, and of course here I am with the cards for the week ahead. So giving you some guidance, giving you an energy update, talking about a spiritual subject to bring you into alignment for the coming week. So it's Monday afternoon here in Australia, but you're probably just getting up on the other side of the world, or it's middle of the night in some places. But hopefully this is a good way for you to start your Monday and give you some inspiration and motivation. So I'm going to start with the Archangel Power Tarot, and I've also got Keepers of the Light to pull you a couple of cards from those. And I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. I'd love to know if you were at the Friday webinar, the Angels and Guides webinar that I did last week, just before the weekend. It went really well. I probably had the highest amount of people booked in for that than any other webinar I've done in the series. And lots of great feedback today, but also a few questions which I'll broach on here because it's just a little bit easier. So we worked for 2 hours. We did some connecting with the angels, how to connect with them, how to tell the difference between your angels, your guides, your loved ones, and even animal guides. And I was talking about animal guides and how they can show up. So if you've got a guide that's working with you at the moment that's an animal or an animal messenger, that creature can show up in lots of different ways in your life. So you might come across one, you might see a lot of it on Instagram or Facebook, or it might turn up in your reading or whatever. You just find that creature in one shape or form will show up for you. And I had a little giggle during the webinar because as soon as I started the webinar, a huge kookaburra landed on my veranda outside my window right at the beginning and just stared at me for a really long time. It just stayed there looking through the window for the whole beginning of the webinar. And then a little dog turned up that I'd never seen before. And when I finished the webinar and did all the bits and pieces and admin that I had to do before it all got sent out to everyone in the replay, I discovered a really huge spider in my house. And I had to laugh because I thought, talk about what you think about, you create, right? So this big, huge spider. Now, I'm not really afraid of spiders, but I'm not really that comfortable with a big one wandering around. And they do get big here in Australia, but it was harmless. It was a huntsman. But it was wandering around in my lounge room. Hi, Erica. So this big giant spider. So I said to it, I had to go out on Saturday morning and it was still sitting up on the ceiling. I said, okay, I can't reach you to take you outside, but I would love you to go through this open window while I'm away. But it didn't, and it's disappeared. But spider has shown up a few times for me in the book I'm reading, in just so many different ways in the last 3 days since I first saw that spider and since I was talking about animal guides. So I know that spider has got a message for me. Now, Erica says you missed the webinar due to the time difference. Yeah, but you have it on replay. Good. Yes. So, yeah, and doesn't it feel like a little bit at the moment as if life is speeding up a bit, that time is speeding up? And I had a chat to the angels about that today, and they were saying that it's got to do with the way our minds are and what we're focusing on. That in some ways, time is only relative to us humans. It's not really a real thing. It's just something that we have decided. So depending on where our mind is, and that isn't such a bad thing if it's going quickly. It could be that you're doing something that you really enjoy. It could be that you're thinking a lot of thoughts, and that's sort of taking you out of space and time, out of your body, and then you're missing big chunks of time. It can be that you're ungrounded, and that's another reason why we miss big chunks of time as well, ungrounded, and also your energy being pulled out in many different directions. So if you've got a lot of things demanding on your energy, maybe you're worried about a family member somewhere else in the country or overseas, or you're thinking about being somewhere else, that takes you out of time and space because you're spiritually not planted inside your body. And then when you sort of come back into your body, you realize a lot of time has passed. So it's important to be grounded And it's also important not to give yourself too much to do and too much to think about, because the spirit gets kind of restless and tired if you're not doing things that nourish your soul. So, hey Kay. So, we're pulling you 3 cards for the week ahead. I'm giving them a good shuffle. Okay. And then I'm going to pull you 1 or 2 from the Keepers of the Light, which are Kyle Gray's sort of Ascended Masters deck, which really go well with the theme of angels and guides at the moment. Okay. So the first card we have, which is always the present situation. This is always about, what do we most need to be looking at right now? What do we most need to be thinking of? What is it that is the theme of the week? So we have the Ace of Gabrielle. Now, we've actually got a lot of Gabrielle cards, which is interesting. Gabrielle, all angels, the word angel means messenger of the divine, or messenger of God. So, but Gabrielle is the messenger archangel. So this is about messages for you that forward you in your purpose and on your path, and messages that uplift you, that take you into that spiritual level where you really feel connected with everything and you feel connected with life. And so this is what this week is about in a lot of ways. So this one, the Ace, now Aces are all about new beginnings, giving birth to something new, beginning of a journey. And this is about really recognizing the gifts that are around you at this time. Now, there is a lot going on in the world, okay? And I try with my work at the moment that I'm doing with my blogs and my videos, not to constantly be talking about what is going on in the world, because I think there's a lot of people talking about that, and I think we need to know things of how we can deal with that, how we can manage our energy, but also we need to know how still life goes on, right? We're still dealing with things in our own personal lives, and everything, we're carrying that little bit of an extra stress load, a little bit, maybe a lot of a stress load at the moment because of world events, and it makes things a little bit harder, especially if you're empathic and sensitive. But you are still manifesting, you're still on your spiritual path, you're still facing everyday challenges, you're still facing the big life challenges. And we're in the middle of this awakening, which is bringing us into this, you must raise your frequency. You have to let go of the things that are holding you back. You have to make some big decisions. So it's full on, right? This is asking you to recognize the gifts and blessings that you have in your life, and to not be focusing so much on the things that are out there that are not good, don't feel quite so good. Now, it's not saying ignore them or go into denial, but it's just saying, can you count your blessings? Can you look at what the gifts are in your current situation? And can you also keep your eyes and your heart open for opportunity? So this is asking you to get that kind of childlike sense of amazement and wonder, and whatever it takes for that. So for me, when I go for my nature walks, you know, some days I'm just blown away by what is outside my front door, right? Or it might be music, or it might be reading an amazing book. You know, all of these things are still accessible. Try to unlock that inside of you, that sense of wonder and that sense of, sorry, I've got a stray hair trapped. Because it's like the angels are saying, we're up here in the higher realms, we're in the higher frequencies, and we've got all of these gifts that we want to give you. We've got opportunities, we've got abundance, we've got guidance, we've got miracles. And you guys, if you're too kind of down on yourself and you're too sad and you're too stressed, you're missing all of that. So you need to make space to recognize what an amazing, blessed gift life is. When I went out of my front door this morning to go for my walk, I encountered a neighbour that I haven't seen for a really long time. And I haven't seen him for a long time because he's been unwell. And he told me what had happened. And I made the appropriate noises, you know, like, oh, that sounds really hard. And he said, you know what? I'm just really grateful that I have a pulse. And he wasn't joking. You know, we laughed, but it wasn't a joke. It's true. right? We have to be grateful. And whenever a friend gets ill or somebody passes away or something changes that's hard in someone's life, and I have a unique perspective, I guess, in the work that I do, it always makes me realize how we sometimes forget to be grateful for the little ordinary things, the things, in the quest for always trying to make things better, or always trying to create something else, we miss things. So be open to the blessings and the gifts. The guidance, the second card, is always action to be taken, a step to be taken by you. Now, another Gabrielle card, underlining the message, underlining that you're being moved forward here. This is about recognizing that something is done, it's finished, it's almost or is completely over. And it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you failed or that you've missed something. It just means that you've come to the end of a level, you've come to the end of a stage in your life, and it's time to move on to the next level. So when somebody passes away, for instance, it's very hard. It's very hard to deal with, right? We can say they haven't lived their life, as long as it could be, or it's not their time, or something like that. But we have to trust that there is a bigger picture. There's the divine is in charge, right? And that person's existence isn't over. They're just moving to a new level, which they're ready for. So in some cultures, they would celebrate. So it's not always about life and death. It can be that, okay, wherever you are right now in your life, there are certain aspects that are ready to leave your reality because there are new things that want to come in. So it could be a change of job. So don't despair if your job isn't what you hoped it would be going back, or a contract's come to an end. Don't despair. There's something better waiting for you. This is a celebration card. It's really about you're going to the next level. You're going to the next project. There's something else that needs your attention, that the divine needs you there for. And with that comes rewards, awards, abundance. So it's like you're getting a pat on the back and it's time to move on. Now, when the universe promotes us in whatever life incident we're in, it doesn't always feel like a pat on the back, right? It feels like, oh no, what's going to happen next? Because we love to know what's on the other side of everything. But we can't know. That's part of our journey, is that we are learning to let go. We're learning to let go. So this, actually, one of the words on this card is congratulations. Something is complete. You're moving on to the next thing. And I'll put the cards up on Instagram stories later so you can take a look at them more closely. But it's a soldier returning from battle. So it's also acknowledging that you've been through some tough things, but you're okay. You're still going. Now this one is the outcome. And this is lovely. This is Archangel Chamuel, who I adore. Chamuel's energy is this beautiful rosy, goldy pink color. And Chamuel helps us to find things that are missing or lost from our reality. Now, a really great affirmation is nothing is lost in the mind of God. So whether you're looking for your soulmate or your car keys or a job, you can say that nothing is lost in the mind of God, and know that you are being aligned, you're being connected with that. So this is the outcome of following these two cards. And it says there's a sudden change, a revelation, an inspiration, that is bringing you freedom. And I love the image on this card. We've had this card so much this year, it is not funny how often this card has popped up in our readings. And why? It's the Tower card in the traditional tarot, which shows the crumbling of a structure, the crumbling of something that maybe it's scary that it crumbles, but it's actually not a bad thing. It's something that has to go. And then what comes on the other side of that is a massive change, a positive change. It's like you've been walking down the wrong path, and all of a sudden that path caves in, which means you've got to turn around and go the other way, and the other way is where you were meant to be going all along. So this is asking you to change your life, change direction, look at how good it can get. Don't go for good or average or that'll do. Go for this would be great, because remember what the angels are reminding us of. Like, life doesn't go on forever. We have to live to the full. We have to go for it. We have to support ourselves, believe in ourselves, and know ourselves to be worthy. And that, all of that aligns us with the divine and with our angels. So it's like, because you let go and you have this sense of completion, you're finally able to make changes. So step one, let go. Now, this was an additional card that fell out, and it's not a synchronicity. If I get a jumping out card, if I get like 6, I don't take any notice of them, because I just think I just fumbled and dropped them. But if one flies out, I always pay attention to it. And this one is the 9. 9 again is about completions, and Gabrielle is about a strong message that you must listen to. And this is about moving forward and being determined. So you might feel this week that's like, oh God, I don't know if I'm making ground. I don't know if I've got the energy to get where I want to go. What is it that I want to create? And even feeling distracted, or things wanting to pull you off track, or even that feeling of out of time and out of space, and not really feeling grounded, and being too easily scattered. And this is saying, stay determined, put your feet in the earth, ground yourself, and keep moving forward. So it's like at the end of a marathon, right? When you just about had enough and you're like, I want to fall over and go to sleep under a tree. This is saying, just keep going. Because when you keep going, you're going to have a breakthrough. And a breakthrough means something positive is going to come of all of your hard work. So what came out from the Keepers of the Light? This one is really, really appropriate. And I speak about this a bit. And this is about digging deep and finding your inner strength. It's Bridget. This is about sometimes when we feel completely worn down, when we feel like we can't go any further, or you feel like there's too much stress, there's too many challenges, this is too painful, is when that is a moment of grace. And you have to dig deep to find the strength to keep going. And whilst that feels completely unfair, and it feels like, this shouldn't happen, and you have to put all of that aside and go, this is a moment of grace. This is when the divine and the angels are with me in full force. And by calling on that having to dig deep and going into my strength, I'm actually growing. This is like I listened to a great podcast yesterday about cicadas, and how when they're under the earth, they break out of these different, they're different forms to finally, come out as a big cicada. So you are breaking out of a shell that is too tight for you. And the only way you're going to break out of it is to grow a little bit more. And so it takes you to do new levels, which is what your soul is here for. That's why you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. So you're moving into a place right now where you're more authentic, more whole, more knowledgeable of your worth than you've ever been before. And you've got to call, if you're not feeling it, you've got to call on that inner strength. I've just written a blog today, which all my newsletter people will get, about affirmations that you can use when you're struggling to feel positive. Someone asked me the question last week is how can I align with my angels? How can I hear my guidance when I'm feeling so negative and so filled with anxiety with everything that's going on in the world? How can I align myself? And one of my answers to that is to use mantras and affirmations, because it's the thing that breaks us sometimes is the fact that our thoughts aren't supporting where we want to go. So when you start to say mantras and affirmations, I am strong, I am worthy, I am connected with my angels, I am aligned, I'm raising my vibration, I'm guided, all of those things will align you, mind, with your intention, which raises your frequency. If your mind is low, but your intentions are high, it's going to feel harder to get through that gap. And the final card, I believe part of this is about protection, and protecting your energy isn't always about stopping someone else from attacking you. It's about putting up a strong boundary around your energy and your thoughts so that you have control over what is going on in here, not everyone else. If you are not filling your thoughts with positivity and what you want and your intentions, then someone else's intentions are going to come in and take over, right? So you've got to claim that space and then protect it. This is Kutumi, cloak of wisdom. So surround yourself and fill yourself with thoughts of wisdom, thoughts that keep you centered. I am safe, I am well, I am healed, I am guided, I am connected to the divine mind. All is well. And the answers that you want will come to you. You will find them. There's always an answer. There is always an answer for every question that you put out to the divine, to your soul, whatever you're asking. So I'm just going to say hi. Hi, Amanda. So Amanda says she's absolutely, as she moves out of her home in less than 2 weeks and have no home to go to yet. Now, Amanda, I'm going to call you on this. Almost every post you've written to me about this lately, you've put, I have no home to go to. I want you to cancel that and start saying, either don't say that or say something along the lines of, I am creating a new home, or there is a new home coming, or make an affirmation, I have a beautiful new home. Because you are creating more of, I have no home to go to. And that just stood out to me like a big red flashing neon light, that is creating some low energy within you. So for me, if I thought I have no home to go to, because I too am thinking about moving at the moment, and I don't know really quite exactly where I'm moving to just yet. And if I think that thought, I have nowhere to go, I can't connect with, I can feel it in the pit of my stomach. I feel my energy drain away. I feel frizzy in my brain. So I want you to start to align with what you want rather than what you don't want. And I know that you do that, but I just wanted to call you on that because I've seen that written a few times. And what we write is very powerful. It's a decree. So, and people will say, well, I don't have anywhere to go. And yeah, but that's not what mantras and affirmations are for. There is somewhere for you to go. It's already written in the divine plan. You just have to align with that. And when we say it, we align with it. And that's why people think affirmations don't work, because they think, oh, you're telling a lie, or you're making you're hoping for magic. But it's not magic. Well, it is magic, but it's the laws of the universe that you have to match in frequency with what it is that you want to create. So it makes sense that you start to think more about what you want and say it, even if you can't see it in the future yet. You can't see it in front of you. As I said before, we don't like not knowing what's next, but being in that position, maybe someone's lost a job, maybe someone doesn't know where they're going next. I can remember that when before I started this business, I was in a very intense state of not knowing what is next. And if I had been knowing, or I thought I did, I wouldn't have allowed the space for what did come in to come in. It means that there's a big positive change coming, guided by your soul and the angels. And the fact that you can't see it yet doesn't mean it's not coming. It just means that you have not created anything like it before. So something new is coming in. Hi, Vanessa. Yeah, exactly. And it's very hard when you're tired to create positive thoughts. And that's where affirmations and mantras are useful, because it's just like having a tissue in your pocket. You know, when you're groping around in your handbag in your pocket looking for a tissue and you can't find one, and you can feel your nose is about to run or you're going to sneeze. Having a mantra that you already know, that you've already created intentionally, is like having that clean tissue in your handbag. You know it's there, so that when you're in that state of overwhelm, exhaustion, sadness, fear, anxiety, because anxiety is just it's like the other virus at the moment. It's just whizzing around in the atmosphere. It's very easy to catch it, but you don't have to keep it. When you're in that state, you tend to go for the old back brain stuff. So the old back brain stuff are the thoughts that are created out of stress that maybe you picked up from mum or dad or grandparents or other authority figures when you were growing up, that are your fear behaviors. So we go for our fear behaviors and thoughts because that's what's in our pocket. You know, it's like having a, you know, grotty old packet of chewing gum in your pocket. That's what you get when you're in that emergency state. So you want to go into your back brain and go, oh, hang on, I've got all is well. I am safe. I am peaceful. I'm so grateful in there, instead of, oh my God, it's all a disaster. I'm homeless. There's nothing waiting for me. What a failure, blah, blah, blah. All the things that we say to ourselves. Yeah. Speak it into being. And also, you know, just watch your language. Just watch your language. What you write, what you think becomes the truth for you. It becomes cemented into. One thing I noticed about myself is that every time I wrote I am, last year, because I was anemic, I was writing I am tired a lot. And so I noticed, because my predictive text would finish a sentence for me when I was about to write I am in a text. It would finish it with tired, and I'd be like, no, I wasn't going to say that. Obviously, I've been saying that a lot because it's in my predictive text. So that means it's up here in my subconscious mind, ready to spit out. So I changed. I tried to change what I was saying and typing. Yeah. So that's the reading for the week ahead. Have a look for the blog a little bit later if you're not already signed up for my weekly newsletter, where you will get this video, details about upcoming events, and a short blog about something inspirational, a way to connect with your angels, a way to heal yourself, energy therapy techniques, angelic connecting techniques. You can go to my website, rachelscoltock.com. A box will pop up saying sign up here, and you can be on the list to get my weekly newsletter if you're not already getting it. So I just finished the webinar on Friday, and we've just put the new webinar on sale, which is 5 ways to manifest with the angels. I'm going to be doing a manifesting webinar next month on the 21st of August. And so you can go over to my website and book in for that one. It's going to be a 90-minute, and now, of course, there'll be a guided meditation and activation at the end, which is always incredibly powerful. Thanks so much for being here. Please share this with your friends. I'd love to have this go out further. If you think it's helpful, then thank you for supporting my work, and see you next week.